Hi, and welcome to this first of three broadcasts in a series we have called Fix the Foundation. And with me today, I have my colleague from Sweden, Kevin. And would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for getting me involved here. Kevin Burns, I'm working as the Principal Solution Architect for the Data NAI team at a fellow mine in Sweden. It's great to be here today in Denmark,
Yeah,
Michael.
great
Yep.
to have you here. And my name is Michael Oxa, and I'm working as a business consultant here out of our Copenhagen office. Today we have a wider audience. It seems like we have more business-oriented people, and we have some more IT developer people.
Yeah, so a good mix.
A
Yep.
good mix, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll try to balance that.
Yeah.
And before getting started, we would like to take questions. So if you have a question, please write it in the question tab in there, not the chat, but in the question tab, and we'll try to come back to them at some point in the broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if there's anything we don't get a chance to answer in there as well, just contact us as well, and we'll take them offline after the session.
Yeah. So we have three broadcasts, and
Yep.
we're starting off with the Medallion Architecture, and then we're going more into what we could say governance in the next, and finally we're going to talk about AI or data foundation, or what should we call it in the last one. So
Exactly.
but that will be next Wednesday and the Wednesday after. But today it's the Medallion Architecture. And Kevin, why are we even talking about this?
Yeah, well, good question. And it's one of these things that's been kind of challenges around it for quite some time. And I think these challenges have been around for a long time, haven't they? It's not a new thing that's come today. A lot of this with how do we get our data ready? How do we get our data ready for analytics and possibly other users as well? And this existed even a long time ago when we had our data warehouses, which were our one source of the truth, really great, but big structures often, which took a long time to get the data in, get through all of the processes, and make sure that we did get this one version of the truth at the end. It took quite a long time to get there. And so it was that slow time to insight that was around then, one of the big challenges. And there's still new challenges around today as well now. I mean, we have the lakehouses that have come, being even more popular, and lakehouses are an attempt to get us moving a bit quicker, but also take in different data sources, which we weren't necessarily getting with our data warehouse.
We have some business attendance here. So what's the difference between a warehouse and a lakehouse? Is that important or?
Well, it was, yes. Data warehouses were very important, very protected structures, which were really important for your strategic BI and development. Structured data, only structured data, which you put in there to get certain specific results out at the end. Lakehouses, you can take in different kinds of data in them. And so it became a lot more flexible in which data you could get.
Many kind of, I could have structured data and unstructured data.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But with that has come new challenges, of course, as well. So we've put in the lakehouse part, but because you can have all these different data, you need to make sure it's consistent and good quality, which we often solved with the data warehouses, but it's a problem with some lakehouse architectures today as well. And again, like we mentioned, it's very costly, a lot of the transformation processes to get the data prepared for the end with the old architecture. I think actually what's ended up happening as well, we've ended up with these fragmented and siloed systems where a lot of companies now have the traditional data warehouse, plus they've also got a lakehouse architecture as well. And both of these producing both of them one version of the truth. And so you've got two versions of one version of the truth in two different systems, which of course is a challenge for a lot of organizations now. Yeah.
And now we are moving into more of these data platforms. Fabric is one of them, and what is Fabric actually?
Yeah.
Because maybe some of you out there don't know what Fabric is.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of gone back to the data warehouses, Lakehouse, loads of different possibilities of how you can build these two solutions. Loads of different programs, products that you could use. What Microsoft's done with Fabric, which is really exciting and really cool, is that they've brought all of what they did with Power BI, which was making it a really simple user interface, really quick to set up and get going with. But they've put in all of the back-end work as well that you need for a data platform. So it really does become this unified data platform where you can cover all of your different workloads in one solution.
So in a way, I have what we know and I love about Power BI, and then I have the possibilities to build the data and structure the data in a more professional way, so that I can do my reporting, my analytics, I can do my machine learning and different stuff in here. Yeah,
exactly. And that is really what they've added. I mean, we had the Power BI, like I said, but they've also added all of these other experiences in there, where you now have your data factory if you want to do drag and drop development of transformation pipelines, data engineering if you want to do really deep engineering with Spark and notebooks and go a bit deeper there. Data warehousing as well. So if you come from a traditional data warehouse solution, you can bring that in too and use your expertise and they're all solutions that you had there. And then data science, as like you mentioned, adding machine learning techniques as well. Real-time intelligence is another great thing which is coming Fabric now as well, where we can actually get data in real time there as well. That was also a big issue, of course, with traditional data warehouses. Was it was often a batch job. If you were lucky, once per day, maybe sometimes a little bit more often, but it was often a one time per day loading there. Real-time intelligence gives us the option to speed that up in Fabric as well. And then we've got the other layers across there as well with OneLake.
Could you tell us a bit more about OneLake? What is this and how does it work?
Yeah, OneLake's a really central part of the whole of Fabric. And it means that all your data is in one place, in one format, in OneLake. It's a bit like having your OneDrive for data, Microsoft always say. One central place that you know where your data is, you know which format it is. And so you can always rely on that and use it and get there to get your data. And then some of the other areas that have been added there as well, there's Purview as well, which I think you probably know more about than me, Michael.
Yeah, so Purview is where we actually can secure our data, but we can also govern our data. So who has access to the different data products, who has access to our data catalog, where you can see which kind of data is in there, what can I use. So it's all about actually getting the data cleaned and sorted so that we can use it in the other end, but also having the possibility to access data from a machine learning perspective on a previous layer. So why now we have the Fabric data platform and everything is good, then why do I need to speak old Medallion architecture?
Yeah, exactly. Why? I mean, like I said, Fabric now is this software as a service, which means you can basically click on one button and you get all of these different experiences. You get everything that you could possibly want. I was at FabCon last week in Vienna, and it was great to see the pace of development there. There's so much happening. There's so many new functions and things added. So but I think one of the problems with that is now we have so many functions, so many choices, it can be a bit overwhelming. So now we've really got this great technical platform in Fabric to be able to choose whatever we want, but we need to know what we want to choose, because what we're trying to solve always is some business problem with data. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where the
yeah, yeah,
medallion
yeah, yeah, yeah.
architecture comes in.
Could you take us through the medallion architecture?
Yeah, sure. And the medallion architecture is always, we start off with our source systems out there. We need to get data from somewhere, source systems. What we want to do in our medallion architecture is get that data into our bronze layer. And our bronze layer is for our raw data, sometimes called a raw zone in there, where it becomes our single source of truth for historical data, for data that was in the source system. Minimal transformation, if any, in our raw zone, in our bronze zone.
So I can connect to any kind of data source. It could be structured, unstructured. Could I have a PDF or pictures or something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And do I copy them in there? Do I need a lot of space then? Because now I have all my source systems, and then I move everything, or what do I do?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. In the traditional medallion architecture, yes, you do that. You move everything into your bronze layer. And there are some different reasons for doing it. There's one where your source system might not actually have any history. It's often transaction-based systems that we're getting our data from. And they don't store the history of how transactions were in the past or how a PDF was in the past. And that's one of the reasons that we bring data into bronze and we store it, and then we have a historical record of that data.
Yeah.
And then I said that the traditional medallion architecture, we always moved everything. Fabric actually gives us some really good new possibilities with that as well, where Fabric allows us to use the bronze layer as a kind of virtual layer, which means that we don't always need to move our data. We can actually connect through shortcuts or through database mirroring to data in a source system, which moves it over. Looks like the data's in Fabric, but actually we've just created a shortcut. The data is still in the source system, but we can now access it within the Fabric solution.
Oh, that's great. So now I got things in my raw layer. What do I do then?
Yeah. Once your data's there in your raw layer, we need to start making that data more usable for business. And that's what we do with our first step into silver. One of the important things we said, bronze, it can be any format of data we like. When we move that into silver, we want to make sure that we conform all of our data types into one conform type. We have a dedicated unified schema. We cleanse our data. We make sure it's deduplicated. And yeah, like I said, standardized into a common system in silver.
Being source system with let's say customer data, I would create one master customer data set in here, or
yeah, exactly. So you would create your one customer data product, master customer data, and make sure all of the data from your different source systems conforms to that standard that business have defined is your customer data.
Okay. Yeah. So that I can be sure that when it goes forward, everybody looks at customers in the same way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we do with our gold layer, of course. We're moving that data through to our gold layer, enriching, make sure it really is aggregated, modeled, optimized, ready for analytics and specific business needs in our gold layer. And make sure it's ready for business use is the main thing. And at its simplest level, that's one layer in gold. But it can be that we have data marts within gold as well. So it's not a defined technology within gold. It's an area where we store data that is ready for business analysis.
Yeah. So as a business analyst or data analyst or whatever, I would connect to these data in the gold layer or semantic models or something like that. And then I would do my analytics and my reports on these curated data that are confirmed. So I'm sure that when doing my reporting, everything is the data quality is right and everything is cleaned in the right way. Is that it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
And we
okay.
want to make sure that's in gold.
Yeah.
But we also actually, what we do with the Medallion architecture as well, is that we say that because we're defining how data is at each step within each zone, because we've defined that and business users know that definition, we can actually allow different business users to come in the data at an earlier level as
Oh,
well.
yeah, yeah.
If they require data at an earlier level.
So if I was a data scientist and I wanted to inquire into data which were maybe from the raw layer,
Yeah.
I could access that.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Because we've defined how it is. We have a contract there between us, which we say it's in this format. You can use it, but you understand the format that it's in and you accept that. Quality as opposed to speed of being able to get things up and running.
Yeah. And also here, I could go through my purview and I could go down to my data catalog.
Exactly.
I was sitting out here needing some data about our customers or something like that. And I could go down to our data catalog, see through what do I have, how can I use this data, and I could actually apply for the access to these data.
Exactly.
So
that's why once we've got this definition, that governance level and purview is so important. That's what we're going to talk about a bit more in the next session. As well.
Yeah. I'm
ready to get there now.
Yeah.
We really want to get in there.
Yes.
No, it's a really important, really exciting area as well.
Yeah,
It's really good to get.
So should we talk a bit about the benefit of this architecture? We have touched a bit about on it, but what are the benefits?
Yeah, definitely. And I guess when we looked at the big challenges to start with, one of the things was this speed to get to your data, to get it ready for analysis. We've already mentioned some of that as well. Now, we can get there a lot quicker to being able to use the data in gold because we have a standardized system of getting there. Yeah. And we can give users access to data at an earlier level as well, which speeds up gaining value from data. And I think it's also really part of the governance layer as well is quality and trust, is making sure that data is trusted. Yeah. You've defined what the data is, everybody knows what it is, where to get to it, and you get trust in your data. And that's, let's face it, it's one of the most important things with any data platform you build. Your business users have to trust the data that's there.
We don't start up arguing, my number is the right number, your number, or
exactly,
where did you get it?
We have these two versions of the truth, and everybody's refreshed at different times, and so that's one of the really important things. And then we've gone through a few of these already. This kind of stepwise refinement as well makes much easier to go back and look at if anything has gone wrong, if those conversations should come up. You can take step backs through the layers and try and identify where something may have gone wrong or where a different interpretation of the data has been to try and fix that. And scalability is a huge thing as well, being able to really scale this. And that's something as well we're going to talk about a bit in the next session, being able to scale the solution up to a bigger level, easier. And collaboration, again, I think is something we're talking about a little bit more in the next session as well, the different roles that can use data platforms once you have this architecture in place.
Okay, that sounds good. So now we've talked about the Medallion architecture. Is there any pitfalls or problems that I should be aware of here?
Yeah, there are. There always is. I think one of the big areas, and coming from a technical background myself, but don't be guided by the technology. Technology is there to solve a business problem. So don't be guided and purely go in for the technical part of things and over-engineer the solution, because it's not going to give value all the time if you have to. If everything's way too complicated. Yeah. So keep it simple, basically. As simple as it's needed to be for that specific business user case. Yeah.
So it's more like a guideline than an actual rule.
It is. It is. Yeah. I think it's a guideline of how to do things. And again, don't be really fixed and say bronze is only one layer, one step. Bronze could be two steps within the same layer. As we mentioned earlier, maybe you have to Your source systems don't have historical data. They don't store that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that could be an extra step in your bronze layer to keep that historical data stored for reference in the future.
Yeah.
And then I think mentioned as well, making sure that we don't lock up the layers as well. You should be able to gain access to the different layers as long as the users understand, again, it's that contract. Our data is in this situation, in this layer, and you can gain access to it, but you understand what it means to gain that.
And again, here we can talk purview on a later point.
Exactly.
On how to let people have access to the different data.
Yeah.
Data. So taking all this in account, could you talk a little bit about what would a general layout of a Medallion architecture in a Fabric context be like?
Yeah, it's great, and I think it's one of the things that it's actually amazing how well. Sound like I'm selling it now, but it's amazing how well Fabric and the Medallion architecture fit together, because what we have there is with OneLake, we actually get the same data storage across all layers. Yeah, and
can I just pause you for a second, because I think we have a question here. It's bronze. Do you transform to
manage table before you move to silver? If we transform JSON CSV, yeah, we would do some transformation on that. Again, it's a little bit of a question there if we need to save the history in bronze. So if it was an extra step in bronze where we need to save this data, or whether we can actually just move it into silver and transform it to make sure it's in our Delta Parquet format straight away in silver. So again, it's looking at what is the business user case for the different situations. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but
no,
I think
all right.
it was a good question.
Yeah, it's good to take the questions. So if we look at the kind of solution when we merge these two together, the possibilities that there are in Fabric with the Medallion architecture, I think this is where we really start to gain the benefits of both of them by merging them together. And what do we mean there? I mean, we've still got our data sources. Yeah, we can get all that data in. We can either do it through pipelines or shortcuts or copy the data in. And as remember we mentioned at the beginning that Fabric's now given us all of these different possibilities, all of these different compute engines where we can use notebooks and Spark jobs, data flows, all kinds of different ways to move or manipulate our data.
Just to clarify for the business attendants, notebooks and Spark jobs, what is this? Is it different kind of code, or what is it?
Yeah, well, everything in the end kind of gets converted into the same code in the background. It's just a different way of doing it. So a data flow is more of a kind of low code way of moving your data. Notebooks, a little bit more pro code, getting in, actually really writing, coding every single transformation that should be done. So it gives the possibility for different kinds of users to be part of this process of transforming your data.
So I could use good old SQL if I wanted.
Exactly. If you want to carry on with SQL, you can use the data warehouse experience within Fabric. And it's called a data warehouse, but it is a Lakehouse architecture and fits in with that within Fabric. It's just because the experience is writing TSQL, using stored procedures, very similar to the old data warehousing experience. And so, no matter which kind of people you have in your team, who's moving the data, which method you're using, the data always ends up in OneLake in Delta Parquet format, which is a file format used to really optimize how data is stored in OneLake. And it means that we can move data from bronze to silver to gold with different solutions, different compute engines, but actually the data in the end is the same format. So we could move our data to silver with one type, and then we can pick it up and use a different type to move from silver to gold. You're not fixed by the technology.
No.
That's what we want to say there.
I think we have another question, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question here. We have about how it fits into the different workspaces. If we need different lakehouses per source system, and bronze and silver would be in one, and or domain workspaces. Again, this is a really interesting question, which isn't a simple yes or no answer, unfortunately. Fabric gives us all of these possibilities. Medallion architecture helps us break them down into different zones. But you'd need to really look at your whole organization before you can answer these kind of questions. Yes, you could have one workspace per zone. You could also, if you have a very small, slimmed organization, you could actually have one workspace which does everything within one workspace. It depends a little bit, again, on how we want to govern things, how we want to be able to scale it, and who you have, how many people you have to be able to monitor and administer the solution.
That's really the thing with Fabric is that there's so many possibilities, and you actually have to talk about the roles and the responsibilities and the govern of what are you allowed to do.
Yeah.
It might be different for different roles, but we will dive into that next Wednesday. So yeah. So good question. We'll keep we'll go back to the roles on a next Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah. So did you touch on the one lake here? We've been there.
Yeah, exactly. So we've talked about one lake and what it is, and that it's great for setting things up. And in this scenario, we've been talking more about a kind of analytics scenario, which I think is really important and probably where most people are coming from, getting our data ready for analytics.
Yeah.
But actually, by doing this work and putting it into one file format and one solution, we're actually opening up the possibility to give even more value to that data. So we can add value by going into different areas. Of course, AI is one of the huge areas everybody's talking about. So many possibilities built in within Fabric, but there are also possibilities outside of Fabric. But for it to work, for it to be repeatable, scalable, then you really need to set the right data foundation in place to be able to do that. And gain value from your data in different value streams.
So we're talking about the data foundation in Philomine, and could you just elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, and I mean, what it really is looking at, as we mentioned, we've got business insights here as the kind of the first value stream of data where we're looking at analytics. But all of the work that we're doing to get there is actually reusable for other applications as well, for building integrations. Once we have defined our data, we have a structure that it works within, integrations are easier to build. It's easier to build applications and, of course, the AI and machine learning experiences. And on the application side, of course, Microsoft have just added the databases in Fabric as well, which means that it's even more possible and gives us more possibilities to do that and build applications within our data platform.
So I can actually build an application. I can interact with my application, so I can send data back to Fabric, and I can build reports using both. That could be my planning data and my data from the source systems, or it could be more machine learning or more inquisitive programs.
Yeah, exactly. It gives us so much more value from that data. And like I said, we've already done the job once. What we're saying, by doing this, building it in the right way with the data foundation, you actually gain the value 4 times from doing the same job. And that's where the business use really comes into play and gives us a much bigger return on value from that investment into the data platform we're building.
Fantastic. And I see time is nearly up. We would like to draw your attention to the next two episodes of this talk, where we will go more into how to build it to scale and how to govern it, and also how to add more AI and other cool stuff into your solution.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening, and thank you for the questions. We didn't reach all of them, but feel free to connect to us if you have any questions going forward.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.